situation in the Middle East, specifically with Iran, with the U.S. We have reports that the Iranian military has downed an army helicopter, an Apache helicopter belonging to the U.S., in which the U.S. says that they have impacted Iran in 3 strategic locations around the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's state-run broadcaster is reporting, stating that it has affected the water reservoirs, cutting off the area's water supply. As I believe the fighting still remains, Iran has targeted U.S. bases in the region, which also looked at Kuwait and Bahrain. Both the nations, including Jordan, have said that they have intercepted missile barrages directed from Iran. I want to begin the conversation and discussion with Norman Floyd Barnes. A very good morning to you. What are the updates that we are seeing as of June the 10th? Norman, a very good morning to you.
Greetings from Washington in Virginia. The news for today is that the official word is there was a collision between a Iranian drone and a American helicopter, Apache type helicopter, causing the helicopter to crash. The 2 pilots and crew members was rescued by a drone, American drone boat, a unmanned mechanism that they sent out there, and was able to retrieve them and bring them back in without injury. However, the response to that is that the Iranians sent missiles and drones, attacks in Bahrain and other areas in the Middle East, and the United States responded to that. They responded by sending shooting missiles to bases, communication centers in Iran, and so they're back and forth again. You shoot a missile to me, I shoot one back to you, and I hit your base, you hit my base, and we go off and have tea, talking about peace. So this is getting to be a very old, long, and drawn out process where these 2 countries are acting like juveniles in terms of dealing with the core issues. While they're doing this, the world is suffering. The prices of everything going up. The cost of living is coming extremely difficult for most people in the world outside of the elitists, which some of them are. And it is now getting to the point where frustration is sitting in, that we are very serious and very concerned that this conflict is ever going to end. The way things are going, it looks like it's going to escalate regionally, globally, and to something else without any type of resolution. Another Gaza situation, another situation with Ukraine. So so nothing has been achieved. It's just additional. I throw one rocket at you, you send one rocket to me, and we go back and, like I said, we go back and talk about peace. It can't happen that way. Nothing's going to be changed because there's no trust. And there's the people who are dealing with this are not interested in a resolution. They're interested in keeping the conflict going on. And I suspect it's driven by profits.
How Israel is doing with those they take in prisoner. A new Al Jazeera documentary exposes Israel's use of rape in jails. Testimonies collected from former detainees, which detail systematic torture and sexual violence while in Israeli custody. And not only so, 6 nations imposed sanctions on networks financing enabling occupier attacks in the West Bank. They include the United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, France, and the New Zealand and Norway, which announced sanctions targeting networks enabling settler attacks against the Palestinians in the West Bank, a very contested neighborhood. Of course, this move came in a response to record settlement expansion and rising Israeli occupier violence. I want to ask regarding this very issue with Norman Floyd Barnes, what are actually the Israeli people are trying to prove? Do they see other humans as humans, if not as animals? As we collect the data from this new Al Jazeera documentary, it is a huge concern to understand where we stand as a people. Of course, it was called Bodies of Evidence, Israel's darkest weapon. I want to ask Norman, how do you see this as Israel continues to batter Lebanon in southern Lebanon as well?
Thank you again for that question. That question is very thought-provoking. The question you asked, how could a human being do this to another human being? Well, my response to that is that these uh, human beings, these people, this government, I'll say the government, not the people, they have been programmed through their suffering and pain dealing with Europe and dealing with the world after World War II. They have been programmed to the point where the only thing they know how to do is to follow the script that they are accustomed to. So what are you seeing is that no, they cannot appear or have the feeling that this is another human being. They have a mission of annihilating, exterminating, creating genocide, create a situation where there's a cleansing of what they call their program enemy. So everything they do is inhuman in regards to dealing with the removal and the extermination of the area. They do not want the Palestinian and the Hezbollah. They do not want anyone there except the people they choose to be there. So by having these Palestinians still remain in the area creates a problem for them generationally because they know that if they do not kill each and every one of them, which they are not going to be able to do, they will have no chance of surviving in that region. That's because of their temperament, the government temperament. They have no purpose in doing anything. The only purpose is to make sure our enemies will never rise up again and attack us and kill us. So we must make sure they are cleansed from the surface of the earth. Very gruesome words, but they are looking to cleanse a civilization of people who deservedly should have their own land.
Increasing violence coming from Christians in Jerusalem, predominantly involving ultra-Orthodox Jewish extremisms and sometimes IDF soldiers. It is one of the rising trends that show that no other particular religious group or minority group is actually safe from violence stemming from Jewish extremism. Of course, there is the latest news I want to follow up with you all. The foreign minister of France is reaffirming his commitment to protect Christian presence in the Holy Land as he condemns attacks on Christians and their institutions, as stated by the Foreign Minister Jean-Noel Barrot. I want to begin with Norman Floyd Barnes. As I was reading out, what are some of the violences, instances, and of course violations of other religions? As we've seen earlier on this year as well, the father had not been allowed to enter the Holy Church in Jerusalem as it was still ripe between the wartime situation. I want to get a know-how from Norman Floyd Barnes. This does affect, if not inflammate, some of those who are of the believing type. I want to get a know-how from you, how you see it. Various religious groups are being affected just to be a part of Israel. Norman.
Your question brings up a very interesting topic. Is basically the church and the state, the governments. Religion is supposed to be designed for the people. The state or government works by design, for the people. So when you have religious groups all religious groups deny their ability to do what they believe in, it creates a real sick environment for the human being, meaning I do not have a religious right to pray or to practice my religion. I'm denied. I'm being crucified. I'm being chastised. I'm being denied ability for me to practice what I believe in. Now you get into a situation where the principles, the human principles, are now being questioned. Why do we need governments or anybody telling us what we can and cannot do? Remember, the people, believe it or not, supports and allow the government to do what they do. So when you get into religious rights, regardless of what's going on, you get into a very sensitive generational situation that cannot be condoned and accepted. Just because your government don't want you to practice a certain religion or they want you to do something they want you to do, they are forgetting who's who. The government will never be able to tell people what they can believe in and what they can't. They can tell them what they can do, but what they believe in, that's not going to happen. So there's more people than there's government officials. So I suspect that this control mechanism to control who can come in or what they believe in, or a small group controlling, is not going to be digested well by the majority of the people on this earth. And at some point in time, it may be sooner than later, the government has to go.